Hi folks, it's Kelvin here. We run coach for Leeds and surrounding areas as well as online coaching. In this little video, I'd like to share some thoughts on how to add flexibility into your training and training plans. We often see people coming up to a deload week, which is an easier week in training, which allows us to absorb the training that we've already done and allows us to be ready to handle the next training block. But these can be really flexible. And I quite often see where within a training block, let's say we have 3 build weeks, maybe we had quite a tough build week 2, but a runner couldn't hit the workouts because stuff went on in life. Maybe work was busy or a holiday or something like that. So they've had to ease back on the training load for that build week 2. They then complete the build week 3 and then they take the deload week. Now, chances are that runner doesn't need the deload week because they've almost had like a self-imposed deload week on that build week 2. So do bear that in mind. We only really want to take deload weeks if we've got something to deload from, like we're starting to feel pretty fatigued. And sometimes I just take I maybe just skip a Wednesday workout. So instead of doing like a hard workout on a Wednesday, I'll just run easy. So Monday's my day off. I'll take Monday off. Tuesday's super easy with strides. And then I'll go super easy on Wednesday rather than taking a full deload week. And then still do maybe like a mid-length run or a long run on the weekend, add some intensity on the weekend there. And then see how that goes rather than always taking that deload week just because it says so on my training plan. Another thing that I'm doing at the moment, I've just come to the end of an 8-week training block, which is primarily aimed at adding speed and power and starting to build some endurance. And then I'm about to roll into a 16-week specific plan for a race that I'm doing at the end of August, which will require quite a lot of endurance. So quite different things. So between that 8-week block and the 16-week block, I've given myself 2 flexible weeks, which I'm about to roll into tomorrow. And when I say flexible weeks, those are weeks where I can add more training load, or there are weeks where I can ease back on training load. But what's likely is I'm going to look at what I've achieved in the last 8 weeks and make sure that I don't lose any of that fitness, that specific fitness of speed and power and building some endurance. So I'll need to maybe do some workouts that I did within that block in the next 2 weeks to maintain that fitness. I'll also look at the first couple of weeks of my next training block, which is 16 weeks, which I haven't written yet. But once I've wrote that, I've got an idea what I'm going to do. I'll then look at what workouts I've got to achieve, and I might add in a softer version of those. So I'm using that to transition from the 8-week block to the 16-week block. And those 2 flexible weeks give me an option to do that. But they also give me an option to push a little bit harder if I feel that I've got some energy in the tank and my legs are feeling okay. And it also gives me a chance to just ease things back a little bit to even a low maintenance level before I roll into quite a tough training block, which is going to require quite a bit of volume. So what I'm saying here is don't be afraid to add flexible weeks into your training. So that might be that you're following a 12-week training plan for something. Maybe make that a 14-week plan just so that you've got that flexibility if you need to add like a week in there that's either a bit tougher. You might, instead of a 3-week block, you might decide to do a 4-week block, or you might get to a build week 2. And on the 3rd week, you're really, really tired and you might feel that you need to bring the deload week in. Or bring a flexible week in that just maintains a bit of fitness for a week and then restart the plan again. So I hope that makes some sort of sense. And if you have any comments, please pop them down below. And for now, happy running.